This is a Owala Sway tumbler, and in my opinion, it's the best all-around bottle on the market today for everyday use, including compared to all of these other popular options. And no, I'm not talking about which bottle is the most viral or has the best superficial color drops. Instead, I'm talking about actual design choices that make the bottle more functional and easy to use. So let's look at all of these buying factors and compare Owala Sway to these other popular bottles, including Stanley's Quencher, Stanley's IceFlow, YETI's Rambler with a chug lid, because let's be honest, their straw lid is not that great, Hydro Flask's Flex Straw, as well as Owala's original FreeSip bottle. So let's dive right in and find out why this bottle is so good. If you're new to the channel, welcome. First, it's worth noting what's similar. These are all dual wall stainless steel bottles from top name brands. So they're good options if you're trying to find a gift or if you want to buy from a brand that will still be here in 10 years instead of an Amazon knockoff that could disappear. And they all have a wide range of colors and sizes to choose from. So this is really a snapshot comparison against some of the more popular bottles on the market. But I do have this other video that goes into a lot more bottle options if you're curious to learn more. Importantly though, all of these are vacuum insulated. While there are some differences in how well the insulation works with each one, the reality is they'll all be good enough for most people most days as an everyday bottle. Though if insulation is your top priority and you want to know how they actually rank, technically YETI had the best results within this group and Stanley's Quencher was by far the worst. Here's a video about the most recent big test. But let's be honest, you're here for the differences and why Owala's Sway is so good. So let's start with the FreeSip Spout. This is Owala's trademark combination chug and straw spout, and you can either take a sip or a larger swig depending on how much water you need. More airflow means sipping is way smoother and easier, and that's especially notable when you compare it to traditional flip-up spout straw bottles because they typically have those really small vents. The spout is also ergonomically designed around your mouth, which may seem unnecessary at first, but it's actually a surprisingly nice feature once you've tried it. Both Owalas also have this spring-loaded cover that goes over the spout. The main difference compared to the other bottles in this list is that the cover keeps the drinking surface from getting dirty throughout the day. By comparison, Stanley's Quencher has a straw that sticks out, while IceFlow and Hydro Flask have flip-up spouts that also get dirty very easily, especially because you use your hand to open and close it. YETI's chug lid, though, is a pretty good alternative if your main priority is to keep the drinking surface clean. When it comes to actually cleaning it, YETI's chug bottle is probably the easiest because it's so simple. Stanley's Quencher is next because you just have to pop out this rotating piece on top and have a straw cleaner for the straw. But next is Owala's FreeSip lid, both with their bottle and sway tumbler. Most traditional straw bottles have a flip-up spout, and these are notorious for hiding a seal under the pivot point where a lot of bacteria and mold can build up without you even realizing it. Owala avoids this problem by having a fixed straw design, so all of the seals are easy to find and remove for cleaning. And Sway has a slight advantage over the original because it has external threads on the lid, so that rim seal is easier to remove and put back on. The bottles are labeled dishwasher recommended, but Owala just says that to avoid cosmetic damage, and technically, according to their website, they are dishwasher safe. Stanley's 2.0 IceFlow now has a spout that you can remove, but it takes significantly more effort to remove the spout and seal compared to cleaning an Owala. Hydro Flask's Flex Straw lid has this removable seal you can pull out from the bottom, making it a big improvement over their original, very basic straw lid. However, there are still some areas around that pivot point that you can't reach with a brush, so you either need to rely more on soaking it with soapy water or with a Bottle Bright tablet, or remove the spout, though the spout is notably one of the harder ones to take out. And remember that regardless of which bottle you get, you need to clean it regularly to avoid bacteria and mold buildup. Here are the brush kits and cleaning tablets I've used for the last few years. They're not that expensive, and I would highly recommend picking them up or something comparable and get on a regular cleaning schedule. You can also use denture tablets to save some money. And if this video helps and you're buying a bottle, brush kit, or cleaning tablets anyways, it'd be great if you could use a link in the description to buy so I can keep making these types of videos and remain completely unbiased without direct sponsorships. When it comes to the handle, this is more based on hand size and preference, but in my opinion, Owala Sway tumbler has the best handle between all of these options. It's wider than Hydro Flask and YETI, it's more contoured and comfortable than IceFlow, it's not as bulky as Quencher's fixed side-mounted one. Honestly though, these all have pretty good handles other than, in my opinion, Owala's original bottle, which has a narrow handle that's not that comfortable. One other big change from the original original Owala is that Sway has a new lock design. With the original, the handle is the lock, but Sway has this toggle behind the spout cover. This lets you use the handle or clip it to a bag while the bottle remains locked. All of the other bottles on this list don't technically have locks, but they do all close pretty securely, with the main exception being Quencher. Owala Sway is arguably the best bottle for driving and being car friendly in general. The tapered base makes it immediately better than Owala's original bottle, YETI or Hydro Flask. Quencher is okay, but it's a lot more cumbersome because of how the straw and handle both stick out so much, which can be a problem in some vehicles. IceFlow is probably the second best option, but the flip-up spout takes a little more coordination when driving than simply pressing a button to open a spring-loaded cover. Of all of these bottles, YETI with a chug lid is definitely the worst for driving because it's heavy and cumbersome. The spout cover is not connected, so it's one more thing to juggle and potentially drop, which could create a distraction. And chug lids in general tend to block more of your view than straw lids because you have to raise them up to take a sip. Now, when it comes to price, none of these are budget options because they're all from premium brands. But for what it's worth, Owala feels very premium and well designed, and they usually come right around the $35 price point, varying a bit based on size. By comparison, YETI is often more expensive. Stanleys tend to have a similar price point as Owala. Hydro Flasks seem to have a higher retail price in general, but they're often on sale to be more comparable. Hydro Flask and Owala are completely lead-free, while YETI and Stanley still have lead in their construction. Now, in reality, it's not usually an issue because the lead is part of the solder, which is the plug in the bottom that seals in the vacuum. That plug is always covered up by some combination of paint or a tab, so unless your bottle is extremely damaged, there's realistically very low risk. And at that point, you probably need a new bottle anyways. But the sheer fact that Owala and Hydro Flask are avoiding lead at all is still an advantage in my book. Maybe the main benefit about Owala's that Owala doesn't even market is that the chug opening can also be used to fill up your bottle, so you don't have to unscrew the entire lid. This takes less handling, which saves you time and keeps some parts of the bottle from getting as dirty in the process. Perhaps the smallest difference that I've actually come to like quite a bit are these small indentations on the side. They make it just a tad easier to hold the bottle. Is it essential? Of course not, but it's a small feature that you get used to, and it's a good indication of how much design work went into the bottle. And finally, Owala Sway has a new spout seal design that's been updated from the original. This change, along with tweaks to the spring design, seemed to make Sway close much easier, while the original one took a lot more force. The only downsides I can think of are that Owala Sway is pretty top heavy, and it's a little bulkier than the original bottle compared to the volume that you get. And one practical improvement that would make Owala's Sway tumbler even better would be a grip pad on the bottom to prevent scratches on the base. But all of these are minor issues. And if you take a step back and look at everything as a whole, there are a lot of good reasons to think why Owala Sway tumbler would be the best everyday bottle for the most people. Let me know in the comments if you've already tried Sway or if you're using a different bottle that you think might be even better. All I would ask is that please give your justification on why it's practically better, because a big part of what I tried to do on this channel is avoid unnecessarily hyping things up without actual justification. Hope this helps, and happy hydrating.